Hey, Coach. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Great. Ready to get started?
Yes, we are. Go right ahead, please.
Great. Signing day is always an exciting time across the country because you're basically just adding new members to your family. And at the same time now, with COVID and all the games being moved back, it's even crazier that you've got signing day during the season. So it's been a real crazy time over the last 9-10 months. I do think that our coaches handled recruiting during COVID so well, Billy High and his staff. We were able to get most of the guys or all the guys that we signed on campus before the COVID. They saw games as juniors, a lot of them. And we were able to hold on to the 18 commitments that we thought would come into the day, and they became signees this morning, and all of them signed before 10 o'clock in the morning. So they were accountable. They did what they told us they were going to do. There was no drama, so it was a great day for us. And at this time, you're dealing with your seniors to make sure they want to play in the bowl. You're dealing with juniors to see if they're coming out or if they're going to play in the bowl or not. You're trying to figure out where you're going to a bowl. We had a fun year and a great year, so you got everybody coming after your coaches. So it's just a time where there's a whole lot going on. Sally always called it the silly season because you got just stuff all over the place. But today we're going to talk about recruiting. I will touch a few things that are in the opening paragraph that I think are important, and then we'll go through all of the guys on video, and then I will answer your questions after we watch their video. 18 newcomers, 11 of them will come in early. There's one guy that's thinking about it. He's still playing basketball, and we'll talk about him when the time comes up here in a minute. As of right now, we're rated the number 13th class in the country. And even more important than that, the 18-member class that we've got is the second smallest class, meaning number of signees in the top 15. So we're very, very proud that you start looking at the rating, and if people that are rating them have this correct, our guys have a 91% rating per player average on their composite ranks. So, and that would rank us 9th in the country when you start looking at that group. It's a well-rounded group because we've got all positions covered. Of the 18, 9 are on offense and 9 are on defense. They're from 4 different states, 15 from the state of North Carolina, 1 from Virginia, 1 from South Carolina, and 1 from Tennessee. So we pretty much stayed in our footprint. We went to Tennessee for one young guy that is outside of that footprint. We also thought it was very important to include Tony Grimes in this class because he really didn't have a signing day. He didn't get to celebrate like he would with his entire class. It was hard for him coming in as a high school senior, and he was the number 1 rated corner in the country and the 7th ranked player in the country last year. So we promised him, he stayed in the text chain with these guys, and he's talked to these guys, and he'll be rooming with these guys when they get here in the middle of January. So it's an exciting day for him too, even though he's played all year. If you added Tony to this class, it would be the number 10 class in the country. So we're really excited about all he's accomplished this year, but we also feel like that this is a wonderful day. We're a better football team today just because of these additions, and can't wait to get these guys in school. They'll show up January 16th, and they will start school on January 19th. And then can't wait to get them all in spring practice with the other young guys. Let's watch a little film. Okay, we're going to go through every guy, and we've got 4 or 5 clips on every one of them, and then we'll answer questions if you have any at the end. The first one's Gavin Blackwell, a wide receiver from Sun Valley High School. And Billy, these heights and weights are what we got when they were here before. So it's been a year, but this is the last time we measured them when they were on campus. These are what we have. So these guys have obviously grown since then. He's 5'11 and a half, 175. He'll be playing slot where Daz Newsom plays. So interestingly enough, the first pass that he catches here is from Sam Howell last year. So he's used to catching some passes from Sam, so we thought we'd start out with that. Gavin will be here as an early enrollee. You've got to love the speed in this class. These guys can really run, and that's what we're trying to get, obviously. Everybody is. He's got really good hand-eye coordination. He can jump. He can catch. This is not Sam. This was after Sam was here last year. We don't have senior videos, so these are all their junior stuff. As you can see, great body control. He adjusts to the ball in the air well, and he has very, very good hands. But this is the speed. He can turn it on and go. So once again, he will be here for spring practice. He'll start the spring semester. Then you've got DeAndre Boykins. He's actually a cousin of KJ Binkley. He's at Central Cabarrus High School. He was 5'11", 200. He plays running back. He plays linebacker. He plays nickel, and he plays corner. For us, he would be a nickelback. And he also will be coming in January. You can see the quickness. And he's a weightlifter. He's really strong. He's a tough guy. He can really hit you, as you can see there. Very physical. Once again, very physical. Very smart. Good instincts. Being a running back, has very good hands. Good break on the ball and got the speed to score. And we're trying to get defensive backs that can catch, because turnovers win games. And here he chases the ball all the way across the field from the inside there to make the play. Real hustle guy. The third player is Tamir Brown. We'll call him Ty. He's 5'10", 170. He's out of Jacksonville High School. He played a lot of different positions. He's an athlete. Here he's playing corner at the top. That's where he'll play for us. He is not an early enrollee, but he's got very good hands. And once again, you see the speed. He can really run. 5'10 and a half, 170. He also is a hitter. He played quarterback for them. You can see here the athletic ability. What's this play? So much speed. He's also returned kicks, so he would return punts. We love signing athletes that can play a lot more than one position. The speed takes it to the house. Next is Ra Dilworth. He's from Robert Glenn High School, linebacker, 6'1 and a half, 205 pounds. And he can fly. He ran 4.4 something at some of the camps. Very physical player. Again, with an emphasis on speed. He will also be here this spring. So he is an early enrollee. And these guys have already been admitted to school. Got very good hands. This will be back-to-back really good defensive classes. See, he's very physical, loves to play. Avoids the blocker here. Stays on his feet and explodes to make the tackle. He plays sideline to sideline. Power Eccles, 6 foot, 210, will also be a linebacker. He was at Vance High School that was recently, they changed the name to Chambers. 6 foot, 210, like Rah-Rah, he will be here this spring. Very similar, can really quick, very good instincts, and will hit you. Both these young linebackers are special. They play all over the field. And very physical. This was in the state championship game at our place last year. His dad's a coach, so he's been around football his whole life. But both those guys make a lot of plays sideline to sideline. Then you've got Camaro Edmonds. He's 5'11", 220. He is out of Havelock High School. He will not be here this spring. But he's a big, powerful guy that's really fast. Got good instincts and vision. The two big backs here remind you of Javonte some, which is a good thing right now for everybody. The way Javonte's running. You can see he cuts back and he explodes right after he gets through at 220 pounds. Weightlifter, really strong, has outstanding speed when he gets on the corner. And again, this is a 220-pound man. Grew up loving North Carolina. He will not be here this spring. Got good hands, which we like to throw to our backs a lot out of the backfield. The two backs are playing so well, we're going to have good backs to replace them. Then we've got Tony Grimes. He was a real early enrollee, like August. Thought it would be interesting to go back and watch his senior film because he's actually playing in, against Notre Dame and Miami as a high school senior. But you go back and review his film and you see why he was such a prize recruit for us, and he came in and played that way. So very, very proud of him, his maturity. He had good grades. He's handled it. Here he is at quarterback. I can't even imagine what he's going to look like when he gets an off season under his belt and a spring practice with Coach Hess. But this was just 1 year ago for him. Then you've got Caleb Hood. He will be an early enrollee from Richmond County High School. He was a quarterback. He's 5'11 and a half, 225 pounds. I actually recruited his dad, Errol, here. And we think both these running backs are special. And they're both 220 and 225 pounds. But you can envision him right here as a running back. And what we told the guys about coming in early, told the 11 that you do what you, your family, and your high school coach wants you to do, because you only get one senior year in high school. And these guys will miss playing this spring. So, but they made these decisions on their own. We did not encourage anybody to come in early. That's not our place. But like Camaro, I think this guy's special. He's so powerful. He also is a weightlifter. He loves this place. He grew up loving this place, watching his dad play. So he'll be fun to watch. J.J. Jones is a receiver from Myrtle Beach High School. He's 6'3", 195. He's got the real length that you love at wide receiver for an outside guy. Right now, he's trying to make a decision on whether he's going to come in early or not. He's playing basketball. But you can see he's got special talents and tall. So he probably will not make his decision on whether he's coming in early until the first part of January. But he's got the length, he's got the speed. You can see here, tiptoeing down the sideline for the score. Gives you some advantages in the red zone with height over corners. Good route runner. Dad played at West Virginia, so he's got athletics in his family. Drake May, 6'5", 210 pounds. He is coming in early. Myers Park High School. His dad played here and his brother played basketball here. His dad was actually a GA for me when we were here the first time. Drake had committed to Alabama way early in the spring a year ago, maybe even in February, but it was way early. And then flipped to us, and he's a tremendous leader and player, and he's got the whole package. He's tall, he's smart, he's from an athletic family. He can run, he's got the strong arm at 6'5". And he's a really good basketball player. So once again, he decided to forego his basketball season to come in early. Dontavius Nash at 6'1", 180 pounds, will be coming in early from Hunter Hess High School. He will play in the secondary. He's playing corner here. He'll most likely be a safety for us, but as we saw this year, the guys move around, play a lot of different places. He was our first commitment for the 21 class. And Billy, when was that? It was 2 summers ago. So it seems like forever. And he did not waver at all. Another guy with length. Got good ball skills. He's got a big body. Another guy that can return kicks. So a lot of speed on the field. Then you've got Bryson Nesbitt. He was our last commitment at 6'5", 235. I think he's up in the 240 range now as a tight end. We liked him because he's a really good basketball player. He's got height, he's got length. He can do the things that tight ends need to do in our offense, tight, or he can actually flex out and play a wide receiver type position. His dad and mom were both athletes at South Carolina, and Dad played with the Saints at tight end. But we recognized his abilities really early and feel like that he can get open in space. He's also a guy that could play in wide receiver spots in the red zone because of his height and his length. He will not be coming in early. He'll still be playing basketball. But you can see catches like this, he's really a special talent. And a lot of these guys are friends. They grew up together. Kobe Pacehauer, he is 6'1", 180. He will be coming in early as a wide receiver. He played at Gaffney High School in South Carolina this year, so he went across the state line to play. His other previous years were at Kings Mountain High School. He will be coming in early. It's easy to talk to receivers and running backs right now with the way our offense has been productive this fall. So Gavin and Kobe will be in early. JJ is still trying to decide, so that'll add to that receiving core this spring. These guys all have catching ability. That was a game winner. He times his jump really well, but they also have speed in space. Diego Pounds is 6'5", 300 from Millbrook. We're looking for those young offensive linemen, and he can run, and he's really, really big and athletic. Really like his ability to run and get on people. See how good he is here in pass protection on the left side, left tackle with his feet. And he will be coming in early. So he'll get a full spring of Coach Hess and a spring practice. Left tackle again at 6'5", 300. Sometimes these big guys have trouble blocking the lot smaller defensive linemen in high school. They do a better job when they get to college. Here you can see how he runs at his athletic ability at that size. And then he can dunk a basketball at 6'5", 300. And watch this, he can do a flip in the pool at that size. So that's pretty impressive. I know you smart Alex out there saying, how's he going to use that for football? But you know how he's going to use it for football. He will be here this spring. Javari Ritzy, a defensive lineman from Glenn High School. He played with Ra-Ra. He will come in this spring. You can see his quickness and speed. He's 6'5", 280 pounds, and actually ran cross country. His mom's a track coach. He will be in early, and he will be here this spring for spring practice. Just the quickness and speed, he will add to that bunch up front. He is so quick and aggressive. Watch his ability to run here at 280 pounds. Russ the passer, gets it out of his hands quickly, and he runs down the screen and is not happy when he gets there. Very impressive play. Another play, watch the big guy at 280 pounds run here. He chases down the guy on the reverse. So from inside, sees it, doesn't give up, try hard play, runs it down from behind. A lot of penetration. Keyshawn Silver, 6'5", 275 pounds from Rocky Mountain High School. Like Javari, Keyshawn will be coming in early. Probably his expertise was being a pass rusher in high school. All these guys were very highly recruited. But Keyshawn at 6'5", 275 gives us a lot of ability to penetrate and disrupt passers. And I do think the fact that these guys were all close and got on a text chain together and spent a lot of time together was influential on getting a lot of friends and lifetime friends to come to school together. But this is a big man to move this fast. And he and Javari will both be here for spring practice. Again, watch him run a back down, quarterback down from behind. Looks inside, sees it's not there, and chases it down. So again, it's hard to believe he's 6'5". Then he plays tight end some. He'll be wanting some catches. And I also wanted to look at a couple of shots at him dunking a basketball, just to show his explosive power and his leaping ability. There's 2 shots in here of him dunking a basketball and staying on the rim. And if it works for him, he'd like to also play on our basketball team. Gabe Stevens will not be coming in early. He's from Mountain Island Charter School. He's 6'3 and a half, 215. I think he's grown from this, but he is a basketball player, so he will want to stay and play basketball with his team. You can see the quickness here off the corner. His dad actually played at South Carolina. Once again, see the lateral movement, him taking on 2 blockers, slipping the blocks outside and getting in the quarterback's face and knocking him down, forcing the interception. A lot of these guys are basketball players. You love to sign basketball players because they can obviously run and jump, make plays. He will be an outside linebacker. But he's just so tall. He's got a lot of length and can run. See him run this the back down again, all the way across the field. Checks the inside out, runs it down, knocks him out of bounds. Travion Stevenson is 6'3", 220. He'll be an outside linebacker, defensive end. He is from Phoebus High School in Virginia. Another avid weightlifter, grew up loving North Carolina. He will not be here this spring. Loves the place, really good pass rusher, physical, all over the field guy, plays really hard. Got some length. This was a really good play. Again, looks inside, settles his hips and runs and makes the play on the running back turning the corner. Once again, keeps the quarterback from getting outside with contain. And then last is Eli Sutton. He will not be coming in this spring. He's 6'6 and a half, 285. His he's from Brentwood Academy in Nashville. His dad is the strength coach there. Big physical tackle. We're losing a lot of offensive linemen next year or the next year, over the next 2 years, and we've got to continue to work to replace them. You can see he's big, but he can move his feet. He was another guy that came over to visit right before the pandemic and liked everything he saw. Was planning on committing to us when he came back for camp, and there was no camp, so he committed. Got really good feet, powerful guy. A lot of length. But he will not be coming. He will not be coming in this spring. You want to get that back, Jeremy? See if there are any questions.
While they get organized, if you have a question
new
for
job.
Coach, yeah, right. Please use the raised hand function, and we'll get to your questions momentarily.
Get it in the middle. Okay. Okay, very quickly in review, just the guys that are coming in early. Gavin Blackwell's coming in early. DeAndre Boykins, Ra Dilworth, Power Eccles, Caleb Hood, J.J. Jones has not made a decision yet, Drake May, Dontavius Nash, Kobe Paysauer, Diego Pounds, Javari Ritzy, and Keeson Silver are coming in early. Questions?
All right, our first question today comes from Dina King. Go ahead, Dina.
Congrats, Coach, to you and your staff. A common theme that I've seen is you've recruited a lot of athletes that can play multiple positions and play multiple sports in high school. What is your staff's feelings on recruiting multiple sport athletes?
Dana, it's really important to us. I had a dear friend, Dick Tomey, that was a tremendous coach at Hawaii and Arizona and San Jose State. We lost him last year. But when he worked with us at Texas, he always said, the more positions a guy can play, the more sports a guy can play, the better chance he has to be successful. Because if you pigeonhole a guy at just one position and he can't play there, or the coach doesn't like him, or he doesn't like the coach, then he's through. But if he can play 2 or 3 different spots, then he's got a chance to make it. And I've always said that I'd rather watch a guy play basketball in some ways than watch him play football to check his athletic ability. Because you can see him on defense, you can see him bend, you can see his flexibility, you can see him jump, you can see him be physical, you can see him handle the ball and shoot. So there are a lot of guys that you see that end up being great football players that you could recognize more easily and quickly on the basketball court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go over to Jacob Turner.
Hey, Mack. Pretty simple question for you, really. But what do you like the most, or what excites you the most about this 2021 class?
Jacob, I think the thing that excites me the most is their confidence and their attitude. We've got a quiet team. They pick at each other and they'll be positive. This bunch is loud now. I mean, they're aggressive. We've had because of the pandemic, we've had a lot more Zoom meetings with them as a group than we would have ever dreamed of having in the past, because we didn't even know what Zoom was. So they're together a lot, and then they got a text chain together, and they're always picking at each other, and they're like guys. They're making fun of each other, but they love each other. And so I think the confidence that they come in with, the closeness that they come with, is something that I've never seen in a recruiting class before. Maybe because so many of them are from in-state, they've played against each other, they've gone to camps in the state, and it may be because of the situation we're in, where they had to spend a lot of time together on FaceTime and Zoom that they wouldn't have spent before. But I've never seen a group this close.
Thanks, Mack.
Thank you.
Okay, over to Mark Armstrong.
It's obviously a strategy, Mack, but 15 out of 18 from the state of North Carolina. Are you at all surprised that you've had that degree of success this quickly back into your return here?
Mark, I'm really not, because it's what we were able to do last time we were here to be successful. And that's our plan. That's who we want to be. And I've always felt like that, especially if you're going by the rules, which we are, it's easier to get a guy close to home than it is all the way across the country, because the more schools he has to drive by or fly by to get to you is problematic. So I want guys where their parents can see them play. I want guys where their friends can see them play, their high school coaches can see them play. And then I'd love for guys to play on our team by and large, that are going to live in that area when they get through, because it's easier for them to get jobs. And when we talk about it's a 40-year decision instead of a 4-year decision, the 40-year decision means that they can get a good job because of what they've done at the university, the way they've represented themselves, and it sets them up for a lifetime. And that's just the way we've always recruited. So we'll pretty much stay within that, we'll stay within our footprint from DC to Atlanta, understanding last year we got a Clyde Pender, or you go get a Don Chapman, or you get an Eli Sutton out of there, but it's not going to be the norm.
All right, let's go over to Andrew Jones, please.
It's going back to that text chain. At what point would you start hearing stories about how connected the guys were and how they were using that text chain, that you kind of got a secure feeling knowing that they were going to help keep this class together?
Andrew, it was pretty early. I can't pinpoint the day or maybe even the month, but I think when they all realized that they weren't going to be able to see each other at camps and they weren't going to be able to go to campuses, that they started saying, okay, this is who we are. And instead of pouting and be down and be griping about what the NCAA is doing or they won't allow us to come, what they did is said, okay, what's the next best thing, and let's fix it. And going back to what Jacob said, that's the other thing I like about this class. They have been a very positive, they've been low drama. A lot of people, like our coaches, a lot of people came after them aggressively, and they never even blinked. And I think that's something else that's really, really positive. And you have to feel like some of that was that they were really loyal to each other. And they have such a close-knit group. They've been talking about roommates already. So they're working that out before they even think about being here. So that's what makes it so cool for us.
As we covered this class as it came together, we kept hearing different kids bring up Keyshawn Silver as being a really important part of keeping the group together and being a great recruiter for you guys and for that class. What kind of stories have you heard about what Keyshawn's done, and how important is it having a kid that shows that kind of leadership before he even steps on campus? Well,
number one, it's really, really important that you have guys that step up and take leadership roles already in this class. Keyshawn was a young guy that came to a basketball game, and he was being recruited by everybody in the country, and he walks over at halftime and says, hey, I want to commit. And I was shocked. I think it was in February. And I said, you what? He said, I want to commit. I said, to us now? Because we had no clue. And after that, he never talked to anybody else. He was never involved with anybody else. And he said, and coach, I'm going to be your best recruiter. And he has done that. So it's when you're getting this group together, you want guys that want to be here. And what I've learned through my many years is if you have to talk them into coming, it's probably not going to work. And then you add the fact that we've got one-year transfers and the transfer portal. If you talk him into coming and he's not sure he wants to be here, he's going to be looking to leave before he ever gets started. So we're trying to get guys that love this place and want to be here with their teammates, and they'll stay and be strong. And Keyshawn fits that bill.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Andrew. Plus, we like the fact he's 6'5", 275, and can rush the passer.
All right, let's go over to Ross Martin.
Hey, Mack, kind of building on that with Keyshawn and kind of looking at your class, seems like you really improved on the defensive side of the ball and added some impact players. Where do you think, or how important do you think the impact of like a Keyshawn Silver, a Javaris Ritzie, a Power Eccles, a Ra Dilworth, and improving the talent of the defense will be moving forward in roster building in 21 and 22, and how that can impact the on-the-field product?
Ross, I think it'll be very impactful. I won't get it all right, but I looked up one time on Saturday night, and I saw Kamen Rucker and Des Evans and Miles Murphy and Clyde Pender and Jaquarius Conley on the tackle. I mean, they're all standing there together, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're all freshmen, every one of them. And when we started playing those guys, and one was sick and two broke hands, and they were just at no spring practice, so it was not easy. But when we were able to start playing them more is when we got better on defense. And I think it rested some of the older guys, so we weren't as tired. Our second quarters got better because we weren't tired going into halftime. But they're also very talented. And as a staff, we were talking about this morning, now you add this group of speed and tremendous talent to what we've already got, and we're losing very few. We can't wait till spring practice. And a lot of these guys that you mentioned are going to be in spring practice, and we're going to throw them out there and let them go. And last year's group didn't have that opportunity. So not only will we have a spring practice, we feel like, but we'll have a lot of the guys in there this year that missed last year. And I think this is really going to help our defense. It'll help our depth, but it also helps the competition. Guys are going to have to start practicing really hard to play. And that's when you get better.
Yeah, and in particular with Ritzy and Keyshawn, two of your highest ranked players, combined with what you brought in on the defensive line last year. I mean, how exciting is that to kind of see that elite talent coming in on the defensive line, I guess?
Yeah, so that was one of the areas of need when we got here. And we feel like that we're fulfilling that need. And the fact that KJ Binkley didn't even get to play this year. And we thought he would be a huge impact player for us. And he had the lower leg injury this summer, and then re-injured it. So they think he'll be released in February. So he'll be like a signee in the spring as well. But I'll just say this, Ross, walking out on the field in the spring will look better than we have since we've been here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from C.L. Brown.
Hi, Mack. How different was recruiting this season or this cycle for you in terms of maybe not having to try and get guys who you expect to play immediately, maybe having a few more guys who you can develop a little bit more before you throw out on the field?
CL, the guys want to play early, and probably the fact that Tony Grimes out of their class started the last 2 or 3 games was impactful in them thinking they can play early. But we're going to recruit the best players we can every year, and you have to stay balanced with your numbers at each position. You have to try to stay balanced with your classes, so you don't feel like that you're just void a whole position one year in a class. And roster management has become more of a nightmare than ever before. Simply because the NCAA is allowing everybody to come back, or seniors come back. Nobody counted their year this year. It's all a redshirt year, so we're still trying to figure out about 22. So I do think the 21 class, in a weird way, I'm probably closer to all the guys because of the situation we were in, and that they couldn't come and see me all the time. So I've talked to them all the time on the phone and FaceTimed and Zoom, and they'll FaceTime me at 11 o'clock at night and say, "Hey, what's up? How's it going, Coach?" And that really wouldn't have happened a lot when they were here and around all the time. So in some weird ways, I think we're all closer as a class and a staff with this group than maybe we've been in the past.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question comes from Max Olson.
Mack, I wanted to ask you, since you know the one-time transfer exception could be coming here, as a staff, did you guys kind of strategize and say, let's save some spots for the spring and summer, since you have no idea who may go into the portal next year?
Yeah, Max, we haven't done that the last 2 years, and because we really haven't been able to take transfers very easily, but we do feel like that we will have if someone's available this spring or even in January that could help us immediately, that we would look at it. So that's why we only signed 18.
And Mack, how much did you miss visiting living rooms and going to high schools and all that at the end of the cycle here?
You really miss it. You don't miss the travel, because as a head coach, you're gone every night, but the assistant coaches would have gone out all spring. They would have been out every Friday night watching guys play, and you miss it. You miss Friday night lights in the high school. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to go out and see the guys play in February or March, because they've got a dead period now until April, unless that's lifted. So we are actually recruiting guys right now, Max, that we've never met and that we've never had in camp. We've never checked their height or weighed them, and we've never seen them play in person. Last year we had all that. We were a year ahead, so it was good. This next year will be the most difficult and trying time of any unless something changes, because you're a year separated from where you were with the last class.
All right, our next question comes from Greg Barnes.
Hey, Mac, I've got a couple for you. You mentioned a lot of these guys being very highly recruited. And I know with that comes certain programs, promising playing time, that kind of thing. What is your conversation with some of these elite guys about playing time?
Greg, what we promise nothing except you'll have an opportunity to play. And we're going to put you out there, and we'll put you out there immediately. And if you're the best player, regardless of experience or age, you're going to play. And they've seen that. I do think that's where Tony Grimes sent a very strong message to them, that if Tony can play as a high school senior, then they're going to give us a chance. But I've always felt like that one of the keys to our recruiting is we're always going to be very direct, and we're always going to be very honest. I always try to recruit someone that I think if I was their parents, I would want my son to come here. And if I can't figure out why he should come here, then I don't think they're going to figure it out. And that's what I tell our coaches. He shouldn't come here. So at some point, they're going to see it, and they're not going to come. So we can waste our time. And if they do come, he's going to be miserable. So I'm going to be honest with those people and say, why do you want to come? Here's why I wouldn't come if I was you. And I want them to convince me why they should. And I think that helps us with the honesty across the board. But we would never tell one that he's going to start. We always tell them you're going to have the opportunity.
And you referenced Tony Grimes being able to play this year. It seems in hindsight kind of like a perfect storm with Sam Howell being a in-state kid, one of your first big recruits who played from day one and then had a lot of success. I imagine that is a selling point on the recruiting trail.
Yes. And the fact that he was committed somewhere else. And when this changed, he thought it was a safe place and a positive place moving forward for him to whack back away from a great school to come back to his home place. And then Sam is an outstanding recruiter for us. And the fact that he has success, he's had so much success, he had it immediately. Just as a freshman, he was breaking records everywhere. And every time Sam sees somebody, he'll tell them, you need to come here. And especially if they're in state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to Art Chansky.
Hey, Mac. When you, in your experience, when you have a situation like a highly recruited quarterback coming in and overlapping with somebody who's had the success that Sam Howell has had, has the philosophy changed over the years about redshirting in that situation?
No, Art, last year there weren't any red shirts, so that kind of screwed up everybody thinking about it. We've actually gone back on our board now and put his academic class next to each player's name and his eligibility class, because they're totally different now, because everybody on our team would be a redshirt. And even if they've already redshirted, they just got an extra year. So you could have some 6-year guys now instead of 5-year guys. But we feel like that what we do is we're going to bring in everybody and we're going to practice everybody together. And all we worry about, Art, is what is the best path for us to win. Everything we talk about and everything we do is about winning when it comes to on the field. We tell them, if you're not playing and you're mad at your coach, don't be mad. We'll help you go somewhere else. If you don't want to stay and compete, you want to transfer, we'll help you. And we'll get video and we'll call people for you. But don't stay mad. Life's too short. And let's be open and honest about this. Let's don't be pouting around the corner and talking to your buddies about how bad you feel. And we're just very, very direct with all of them. And I think the transparency has really helped our team, because there are no secrets on our team. Everybody knows everything, and we tell them that. And likewise, if someone is playing and they're not playing well, we bring them in and tell them, here's what you're doing well, here's what our concerns are, and unless you do better, we're going to move him up tomorrow.
Mac, I remember the year that you pulled the red shirt off of Stanislac, and it seemed that year there seemed to be a plan for him to redshirt the whole year, but when the other quarterbacks didn't pan out, you pulled the red shirt off him. So does that philosophy still exist with quarterbacks in this particular?
Yeah, the philosophy again, Art, is we're going to do whatever it takes to win. And at that time, we weren't moving the ball. And I remember putting a 165-pound freshman out there against Maryland, and I think he beat them 24-0 or something, and did an amazing job. But it's not fair to your seniors not to do everything possible to win. So we're not trying to win 2 years from now or 3 years from now, and we're not redshirting an entire class to be better at that point. We're trying to win this bowl game, and then we'll want to have a great spring practice and win every game next year. And every decision we make on the field is about winning.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay,
Max,
let's go over to.
Yeah, Mark, just a second. Max, are you still on?
Let's see.
Max
Yeah,
Howell's
Max is still in the queue here.
I wanted to give one more quick answer to his question before I answer the next question, because I think it's important. And it'll be important for everybody, but it probably fits his story from what it sounded like.
Okay, he's here. Yeah, just go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. The other part about recruiting right now in 22 is we had a young man want to commit to the other day at 22. And our coach said, I've never met him. And I said, you're not going to meet him. I mean, maybe June, maybe May. But if he wants to commit now and he's good enough, you're going to have to get a relationship with his family on Zoom. So what we're having to do now, we can't see them, we can't weigh them, we can't measure them, we can't have them in camp, we can't even meet them. So what we're having to do, which is different than last year's class because we got to see them all and had a relationship before it started, we're having to get our relationships on FaceTime and Zoom. And that's very, very different. Okay, Mark?
Okay, let's go over to Charlie Mickens.
Good afternoon, Mac. Mac, I'm just curious, what did you think of when you saw the backflip video of Diego Pounds? So it's one thing to see him dunk a basketball, but do a backflip in the pool. And what does that say about his athleticism?
The first thing I thought, Charlie, was that is one strong diving board. For that 300-pounder to bounce on that sucker and come out of that. And the second thing I thought, I'd be too scared to do it. But you can help guys learn footwork and technique and all that. Coach Smith used to tell me, I said, you recruit these 7-footers and they don't shoot real well when you get them here. He said, I can't teach 7 feet. I can teach shooting. So, and he was so right. He said, I can teach rebounding to a 7-footer better than I can a 6'5" guy. So what we've got in Diego and Eli, we've got 2 tremendous athletes that have big bodies, and that's what the offensive line has become. They're pulling, they're out on screens, they're running, they're having to block the great defensive ends out there, the best players on the other team. So you better have a lot of athletic ability. And we think that his potential is really, really high.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right, our last question today will come from Luke Buxton. Go ahead, Luke.
Hey, Coach, there's been a lot of talk, not only in the sports industry, but across all different sectors about what a return to normalcy looks like with the workplace, whether it be, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off with travel. Kind of looking at recruiting, do you think there's going to be any sort of system? You're talking about how much you can cut down on travel and you can focus more on coaching or whatever time you get back from that. Do you think we're going to see kind of a hybrid of in-person, but also using kind of what we learned with COVID and Zoom and use kind of both a hybrid type environment?
Yeah, Luke, it's a great question. And I don't think any of us have the answer, but I think all of our lives are going to change. I think in everything we do, we were talking about today, why didn't we use Zoom before in recruiting? There's no question we've had more contact with recruits this year because of Zoom and FaceTime than ever before. And that's weird because you'd think we would have had a lot less. And we've had more because we knew we needed to have more. There's no question that we can have a staff meeting now and our coaches can be scattered all over the East Coast if they don't have to be in town. And why wouldn't I do that more often? If we're going to have a staff meeting Saturday in the middle of spring and nobody needs to be here, we can do it on Zoom now. So just like I was talking about with we're having to make relationships now off Zoom with 22 prospects because we can't see them. We can't meet them. And you know, one of them told me the other day, Coach, I can't commit to you. I've never met you. And I said, I hadn't met you either, bud. That's where we live in. So I think we'll see more time at home with families and coaches adjusting to different times of the year differently and more easily than we did before. With the budget cuts, we could see different models across the country in athletics because there may be some cuts at different positions that we got a little bit too many people maybe involved, and athletic directors are going to say, okay, what do you need? What do you have to have? Not what do you need? And I think then the NCAA is going to look at it and say, what about spring practice? You didn't have it last year, and we need it, and we want it, and we're worried about all the injuries and the techniques and the fundamentals. But you gave us some walkthroughs in the summer. Will you give us those walkthroughs again? Because that really helped us with the kids that were coming in June that didn't get spring practice. So I really think, Luke, that everybody is going to sit and try to figure out what can we use out of this awful 10 months that's really positive to change who we are and help our workplace. I've got friends in the big building business. They're concerned, will people want to work from home more now because they did? Or are they going to want to get away from the families because it was distracting at home and need more space? So it's just a lot of crazy things that have happened to us in the last year that we will adjust to and move forward. Someone mentioned this morning after 9/11, we thought how awful. We have to take our shoes off and you have to do this and you have to do this to fly. And now we don't think anything about that. So probably wearing masks with the vaccine, are we still going to have to wear it? Are we more comfortable with it? Is it becoming more day to day? But I think your question is real. It's out there. And I really think all of us are going to be looking at things that we feel like that we can learn from the awful situation to make lives better. I do know that I'm working hard to get our coaches, I want them, when they're here, to work as hard as they can. But now, if they can be with their families, and I've got to talk to them about something, they don't have to run over to the office to meet. We can say Zoom meeting at 9 o'clock. I need everybody on. And that's something I would not have done before spring break.
Thanks, Mack.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Mark. We've got our Sunday. We will come back and we'll have our COVID test on Saturday from 12 to 1. We got great reports from our COVID test after the Miami game. Most of our guys are home now with their families, so that'll be a big test when they come back to make sure we're okay. And then we will review the Miami film on Sunday. We will have our team meeting on Sunday. We'll probably have a walkthrough on Sunday. Sunday night, we'll have our athletic banquet. And then Monday, we'll start our practice for the bowl. And as soon as we get the information on most valuable players in the game and all of that kind of stuff, captains will be voted on at our banquet. Most valuable players will be voted on at our banquet by our players. We picked them, I think, last year. Now we're going to let the players do everything. So we want to get their true feeling. And we'll get you that information as soon as we have it. You all have a great rest of the week, and thank you.
Thank you, Coach.